This is the third video in our 12 series videos about different types of stressors, technostressors at work. And in today's video, we're going to talk about performance monitoring. How many of you have wondered, is my company, is the company that I work for monitoring my progress or my performance, and how are they doing that? And as a company, have you ever thought about, should I monitor my employees? There is a case study that appeared some years ago, if I recall it right, perhaps somewhere around 3 years ago, regarding Microsoft 365. You see, Microsoft rolled out some features where they were allowing you as a leader to monitor the performance of your employees, meaning that weekly you could get a report regarding how many meetings and how many emails has that particular employee with their picture and their name, how many meetings, how many emails have they written, meetings they have participated in, and so on and so forth. You see, that can scare your employees quite a lot because their performance, the number of meetings, the number of emails they're writing doesn't say much about their performance. Of course, it can say something about how available they are and what a good colleague they are because they're meeting up with people. How fast are they responding to emails, right? We are receiving tasks via email, so that could actually be important. But that could also just cause a lot more noise because people will feel that, okay, let me write more emails, let me participate in more meetings instead of occupying myself with my core tasks because this is how I'm being monitored, right? So this is a very important stressor. I have spoken to a lot of people in the many workshops, courses, presentations that I held that told me that this is a real fear that they have. How is the data about how I'm using my computer being used by my employer to assess whether or not I am performing? So what can you do about this? Very similar as in the invasion of privacy issue, try and be transparent with your employees about what you value most in regards to their work and what type of data, if you're collecting any type of data, and to what extent are you using that data. Also, I think it's important to anonymize as much data as possible and to only look at aggregate numbers instead of looking at how each employee is doing. Recently, I was talking to a court of justice where one employee told me that they are keeping track of how many phone calls their not a customer, but citizen relation department receives. And they are looking at how many of those calls are being taken by Maria and how many calls is John taking. And sometimes they're using those numbers to compare themselves. So see, this is a case in which it's not the leader who is monitoring employees, but it's the employees measuring each other against each other. And Maria told me, and this is a name I made up, of course, as a researcher, I have to anonymize the data that I'm working with. Maria told me that John sometimes receives many more calls, but even though the number is higher for John, she's actually spending more minutes, so using more quality time on the citizens that she's talking to. For that reason, there are less citizens calling in because they do not need a follow-up phone call, but she's working just as much, right? So you see here a situation in which we can fall under the trap of measuring quantity instead of quality. So be transparent with the employees. If you're an employee yourself, try to not measure up yourself against others, and talk to your leader if you feel that your performance is monitored in a way that doesn't actually reveal and say much about the work and the quality of your work, of the work that you are doing. I'm Raluca Alexandra Stana. I'm your Technostress researcher guiding you to thrive in a hyper-digitalized world, and I'm saving you time, money, and talent if you follow my tips. See you next time.